This meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by the board commission members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. To use Zoom, you will need to use the link on the agenda or download the Zoom application at www.zoom.us and create an account or use one of the call-in numbers listed on the agenda. You will need the webinar ID to join by phone only. While conducting meetings remotely, we will endeavor to keep meeting operations as close to our standard procedures as possible. However, use of this platform will necessitate some additional meeting protocols. While the board members or commissioners and applicants will be on video and audio, public participants will join the webinar as attendees, meaning they are muted and with no video feed from them. During the public testimony portion of the meeting, members of the public can be recognized by using the raise hand function found under participants from Zoom, or make a request with the Q&A function. If you're joining by phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand. If an applicant wishes to display materials, please make the request to the chair and the email materials to board staff for sharing on screen. When starting testimony, please state your name and address for the record. There's a markup function in Zoom which will allow you to call out specific areas of presentation materials. As in any public meeting, indecent behavior will not be tolerated, and anyone who abuses use of the meeting platform will be terminated from the meeting. Business will be handled at all times indicated on the agenda. Business not concluded in the allotted time will be tabled to the end of the meeting to allow for timely logins and remote attendance. Board members are asked to announce themselves when making a motion and second, so that it will be clear to the audience. So that will be clear to the audience and minute takers who made motions. All votes will be taken by roll call. When all business indicated on the agenda has been completed, the members will vote to adjourn the meetings, signifying the end of the meeting and the termination of the ECAT recording. All participants will be disconnected from the webinar at that time. Applicants will join the webinar as an attendee and promoted to panelists at their agenda items. Applicants will then be able to share their screens and present their materials. As much as possible, presentation materials should be provided beforehand so that materials can be included in the public record. Individual board chairs and staff may wish to keep their screen sharing to their computer. Applicants are encouraged to speak with staff prior to the meeting on how materials will be presented.
Okay.
That's that.
I think, Melanie, is that you as Town of Easton in here?
Hi.
Oh. That sounds like her. Okay. I just wanted to make sure we had somebody taking minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Dan, if you want to just keep us going.
Yep.
Down the agenda.
Yeah, so to reorganize the committee and elect chairperson, I guess Linda, just curious what you're thinking for that.
Well, generally the chair is the next oldest person on the committee, by tenure.
Yep.
Not by age. Neither Naomi nor myself can be the chair. So we really have the three, Cassidy, Eric, and Dan to choose from. All right.
Yep.
Because Naomi and myself are ex officio, so we should not be chairman. So the next oldest, or the next person with the longest length of time on the committee, then is Eric. His tenure is up next year.
Okay.
So, given that, I would nominate Eric Silverman to be the chairperson.
Do we need to second that, Linda?
Yep, if you wanted to second that would be.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Second.
All right.
All right, I win.
Well, we have to take a vote first, so not quite yet. Not quite yet. But Dan, we do have to take a roll call vote.
Okay. Well, Hicks and I.
Hawk's eye.
Naomi,
Yep.
Naomi, I.
And Eric, you can vote or abstain.
Silverman, aye.
There we go. Then I think it's unanimous. Cassidy, did you say aye?
Aye, sorry.
Okay, so sorry. So just as a little primer, when we're doing Zoom meetings, it's a little different than if we're meeting in person. You do have to go through the protocol of reading the whole, that whole thing that Dan read. And instead of, if we were in person, we could just raise our hands and say yes, A or nay. But when you're doing it via Zoom, you have to identify yourself by your name and then whether you're up or down
Okay,
or A or nay,
okay.
I
All
or
right.
not. All right,
Yes. Okay.
all right.
I guess moving down the agenda, a motion to approve the general session minutes from January 6th.
I would second that.
Okay.
And actually,
I guess
I think technically, Eric, if you wanted to take it over from here, you're now the chairman, so you can drive it.
it's all yours, Eric. If you
Sure.
want it.
Thanks, Dan. Might as well get my practice in.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we can move on to the third item, right?
You just have to take a vote on the second.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yep.
Silverman, aye, or yes, approve.
Yep. Hawks eye.
Naomi Barton, aye.
And
Reedy, aye.
Dan.
And Hickson.
Awesome. How easy was that?
All right. Keep going and make a
Yeah.
motion to approve the executive session minutes from January 6, 2025.
I would
Silverman,
second. I would
Oh,
second
go ahead.
that, but also add that we're not going to publicize them.
Okay.
So I would move to accept them, but not publicize the results of that meeting.
Guys, second.
Naomi, third it.
So now we just
Now
take
we
a
vote.
vote if you want to have everybody vote.
Okay. Silverman, aye.
Hawks eye.
Naomi, aye.
Reedy, aye.
Hickson.
There we go. Okay.
All right. Next item on the agenda, review the FY25 application. Is that
So
something you have?
anticipating this, I did make updates to the application with for the calendar year 2025. 80% of the area median income limits, which is what we've been using in the past. And that link, if anybody needed to go into it, the link is there. And you'll see that these are the income, 80% of the 80% area median income limits for the Brockton area. So they've increased, a little bit across the board, but it really leaves it pretty open for a lot of different people. The other thing that I did take the liberty of changing, fiscal year, down below it says fiscal year 2025 applications are due by October 31st. We can change that date, and I'm going to fix that to fiscal year 26. That's fiscal year 26. I just plugged a date in there. It could be that, it could be anything. And the other thing I changed, in other rounds, we've asked people to submit their income tax returns, and they give us the entire return, the federal, the state, everything. All we've ever really looked at, except for a few cases, is the 1040. Would anyone have a problem if we just asked for the 1040 form?
I think that's a good idea. I still think a lot of people are just going to give you their whole tax return, but
They might.
I think
Yep.
that's a good idea. If half of them don't, I think that's helpful.
Yep. it cuts down a little bit on how much they have to copy, number one. How much I'm keeping for them, although I shred everything, I don't like to have my office is secure, but I don't like to have people's tax returns in my office. So I shred them as soon as we're done with them. But this at least cuts it down a little bit with the bulk of stuff.
So to Dan's point, is it possible to add maybe a little extra language after it to say it is not necessary to submit your entire
Yeah.
tax form, maybe, and maybe we'll get lucky with a few of them.
Yep. Yep, I can do that.
Okay. If that makes sense to folks.
Yep.
Yep. But those are, except for updating dates, which are sort of arbitrary. Those are the only changes that I made. The due date, the income limits, the due date, what we're requiring for income verification. Bearing in mind that we still will require that if they don't file a return, that they sign the last page of the application saying that they don't file a return. Um, and that's about it. I did put in a date of, we hope to have everything decided by December 15th. That's a little aggressive, but it would be helpful to have things on the people's tax accounts by February. And I think we have time to
that-
do that.
Yeah, Linda, on
Go ahead,
timing, sorry, Eric. I'm just looking, I was on on our committee website, on the town website, and just downloaded that. Obviously still has last year's application on it.
Yep.
So it's just comparing. So we had November 15th as the application deadline last year. I don't know if you remember, timing seemed a little tight last year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
So
it is tight. The finance director came to me at the end of August and said it would be really good if this was done by the end of the year. Um, and I said, I can't promise that because we're not even meeting until the middle of September. Um, I think, and it depends upon everybody's schedules too. I think backing it up a couple weeks actually helps because it keeps us out of the holiday crush. If we sort of force ourselves to move it quickly through in October, it kind of leaves, um, if we met the first couple weeks of November, and had maybe one, maybe two meetings in November, I think would be able to do it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But that's totally up to all of our schedules, what we're all doing. Some people could be gone for a while. But I figured better to push it this way, it further, earlier in the fall rather than allow it to extend into the spring.
I agree.
And we did find a handy way of expediting it last year, which is we kind of approved a group of applicants that had applied before, had no changes, and were clearly eligible. We didn't need to go plowing through everything on their application because we had seen these applications before. And I suspect because we've been doing this for a while now, it's going to be the same group of people. So I expect we'll get another 10 to 20 maximum, I think, brand new. If it was 10 to 20 brand new applications, I would be surprised. So,
I have a question, Linda. I don't know if this impacts the schedule at all. Is there anything going on at the federal level that could put any of this money in jeopardy if we don't do this sooner rather
Well,
than
I
later, or
asked-
is it reserved?
no, it's reserved. We have the money. The money's actually in the town's accounts. Um, and I asked the finance director that question. I said, "Is there a problem? Is there a chance? Is there
Yeah,
something in jeopardy
it seems
here?"
like anything's possible these
Right,
days. Yeah.
right. And I said, what are we thinking about? And I think she was just, an abundance of caution. I think she was just thinking to herself, the sooner the better, and I don't want to jeopardize anything. But she had no concrete information for me that said,
Yeah.
yes, there's going to be a problem or there's a reason. I would be shocked if anybody tried to claw this money back because it's been deposited in our account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see not using money that hasn't been spoken for at a federal or a county level, but we've not only spoken for it, it's been deposited in our account.
Mhm.
So,
Okay,
you
that's
know,
good.
And Linda, remind me, this is the last year we have it. That's if I
this is the
remember.
last year for the ARPA money.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. I don't know what we're going to do when we have, $3,000 to distribute amongst 100
Yeah.
people, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But and why I asked that or confirmed that was I had thought that we had talked about removing some of the asset questions on here, right? Because I don't think we've been using them. But honestly, my thought is that if we're gonna have to go back to making hard decisions next year,
Yeah.
it may be just worth keeping it on there so people are used to seeing it, because it may be
Yeah.
helpful information when we have 3,000 instead of $100,000. So
Right. I
yeah.
think that's when that will come into play,
yeah,
so,
okay,
so yeah, and so I did not remove that, even though it does get to be a little confusing to some people.
right.
But, yeah. So, does anybody have any other additions or suggestions to make on the application?
No.
The only thing, Linda, at the bottom where you to sign if you don't do a tax return, I think you just need to update those dates to 2024.
You're 20 on the, sorry, when do we do, on the application itself?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
there's a
yep,
few places that
yeah,
still says
yep,
23 towards the top and then at the bottom.
yes, yep,
Um,
yep, I didn't even look at that part of I'll update those, yep, to
yeah,
2024.
yeah, and FY 26 and all that. Yep. So
Yep,
otherwise, nothing else from me.
Do you want to update it, Linda, and just let us have a final look? I mean, even if it's like just a day, if you want to turn it around quick, but it might be good to just have one last set of eyes.
yep. What I'll do for the sake of sort of consistency is if we could vote to accept it the way that we have with the edits that we've discussed, and then I'll send it around before I send it out. Because although I'll get to it in a minute, I was hoping to send this out later on this week.
Okay. Do I need to make a motion for that?
Yes, so I can make a motion
Sure.
to accept the revised fiscal year 26 application with the edits as discussed, with the edits of the fiscal years and the tax years, as well as a couple of the submission dates, and with the requiring only the 1040 and not the full tax return.
Naomi, I second.
Thank you.
Hicks and I.
Hawk's Eye.
Reedy, aye.
Silverman, aye.
And Naomi, did you vote?
Yes, Naomi, I.
Okay. Awesome.
Very good.
All right.
All right, we can move on to agenda item 5, an update on available funding.
Okay, available funding. As of the other day, we had 103,791 in our account, and that includes $89,000 of ARPA funds.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can see that's only $14,000. Donations fell off pretty steeply last year. But if it weren't for the ARPA money, that would be, that's $14,000 that we actually haven't touched in a few years because we've been using just ARPA money. So, but that's that. It'll do us for this year, but it's not very much for future years.
Linda, the other thing I was going to bring up, and if, now might be the right time. I had saw online that there was another new program. I think it was only a couple $100, but seemed to be targeted to a similar demographic to the people that we help. I could have misread this, but I figured you'd be all over it and knew what I was talking about. It was like $275 or something that people could apply for off of their property taxes.
There's a number of exemptions that the assessors have, that Naomi might speak to more, specifically than I can, but they do have a number of exemptions for, disability, income, age.
Uh,
If you're over a certain age, you can have your CPA taxes exempted. And I think 275 is one of them, but I forget which one it
okay.
is.
Yeah, sorry,
Um,
I just found it too. It was in like the town newsletter, and it was the headline was senior means tested real estate tax exemption, and it kind of went through. It was new for FY 26, and there
oh,
was similar eligibility requirements, not the same, but similar.
yes.
And yeah, it was
Yeah,
$275.
that I believe is an exemption that we just had put into effect this year. It required special legislation, and the town specifically advocated for that special legislation to be passed, so that, and I think it's only available for 3 years or something like that. Maybe Naomi, maybe you
Yeah.
know, but it's only available for 3 years, and the timing of it was specifically um, organized to coincide with the Public Safety Building Committee, Public Safety
Mm,
Building Project coming online, all of the extra taxes for that coming online in here, starting now in fiscal year 26, 27, 28.
okay.
And it's an exemption that's tied into the circuit breaker
Yep.
tax. The circuit breaker is a tax deduction. If you're eligible for the circuit breaker, you're eligible for this exemption.
Okay. And where my mind was going was if a lot of our applicants were getting another, I'm going to round up to $300 off of their taxes, and we are not getting our funding for this going forward, like do we try to give less, right, and maybe
Yeah,
save some of our funding for the following year? It's just an idea, and
yeah,
something to think about, just to stretch out the ARPA money as long as
Yeah.
possible.
yeah.
But
That's a good question. And it might be something that the committee takes into consideration when we don't have as much money, is in saying, well, if you're eligible for this, and that exemption through the assessors, which are statutory, they're not required by law, but Easton has accepted all of them. Um, then maybe you've made too much money to be eligible for an exemption, but you're still under the limit for the Taxation Aid Committee. And maybe the committee, I don't know whether that would be something that anybody would be interested in, but maybe the committee would be to catch those people who make too much money for the exemptions, but they're not making enough money to really sustain their taxes.
yeah,
Hmm.
So, but I think that's what you're reading, Dan.
yeah, that was exactly it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yep. So,
But I
that's
guess
what we
saying,
have.
maybe I'm saying this differently than what you just said, Dan, but we don't have to touch the 14 grand if we don't want to this year, right? We can
Nope.
push that
Nope.
even, right? Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
So what
Exactly.
we
Art.
might want
That's
to do
right. Like,
this
Yeah.
year,
let's say we approve 80 applicants again, and we give them $750, right, or
right,
something like that,
Right.
and
No, I
it kind of
agree.
kept the
right,
tail going, and you can see the pros and cons either way, right?
yeah,
But it just
yeah.
something to consider.
The $1,400 that's referred to in the application is a dollar amount that the federal government used to remember the ARPA money comes out of the COVID years, and means tested qualifications for other programs were like the most you could get was $1,400. So that was a number that we just latched onto because to be, it seemed to like coincide with other amounts that the federal government were approving for this or that. And that's where the $1,400 came from, only because this is supposed to be direct aid to people of a certain demographic. And that direct aid in other cases is $1,400 on other federal programs. And that's where that our $1,400. But we don't have to do 14. We could do anything.
Yeah, such a
1,000.
dramatic drop
And as
off.
a matter of fact, I think last time we didn't do 14. It was 1375
Right.
or
That's
something
right.
like that.
Yep.
So you don't have to use it all. You don't have to, and I wouldn't. I would leave us a little cushion. It's going to be hard enough.
Yeah, I
Yep.
agree. And related to that, I don't think I've ever asked this before, but does this money, not the ARPA, but like the other money, does it get invested in any type of like
I have it in
low-bearing interest account?
yeah, I have it in the states. Treasurers can only put money in certain types of accounts. That's very restrictive, as a matter of fact. Little plug for me. I've got an article coming up at the special town meeting in November to loosen that up a little bit. But right now, by law, I am restricted on where I can invest that money. So I have it in what I think is the best spot for this right now, which is in MMDT, which is a quasi state agency that pools all the money from all of the cities and towns around the state, and it invests those monies. So it makes like $45 a month in interest, not on the 103. We only have like 40 in that account. I think we only have well, the difference between the 103 and the 89 basically is what I have in that account. It was like
Yeah,
14,
the
fifteen thousand
14K. Yeah.
dollars,
Okay. Yeah, I was
and it's
curious. It's
making like
something.
$45 a month. It's fair. It's
Yeah.
fair. It's not as
Okay.
good as if you could put it in a like some of my other trust accounts, my OPEB account or something. But I am limited. The law limits me on where we can put our money because they don't want
Sure.
treasurers playing with other people's
Yeah,
money.
that's understood. I was curious if yeah, if it was gaining any interest at all, so at least
Yep.
it's collecting something.
Yep. Yep. So
Okay.
so that's that. That's where our money stands. I think we should maybe go forward thinking that, if we could spend somewhere around the $89,000 mark, which is the balance of the ARPA money, that'd be good.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea.
Okay.
Okay. Ready to move on to item 6?
Yep.
I guess we talked about this a little bit already. Timeline for applications, the review, and the disbursement.
Yep. So with the dates that I have in the application, if we can meet often enough to get through it, and that sometimes is a problem, and I get that. But if we could adhere to these dates, then we'll have everything done by the end of the year, and I'll have checks cut for all of the applicants by the end of the year and on their February tax bills. It'll be payments against their February 1 tax bill.
Yeah, so can we just review, just go through this. So we're saying applications in by the 31st, right?
Yep.
So
And
you need some time to work your magic, Linda, that your awesome spreadsheet, right?
yeah, yeah, I'll be doing that as I go along. So what I was thinking was that if we had a meeting before Thanksgiving, probably like November, first or second week of November, like just give me a week, 10 days maybe.
Okay.
And then we meet again in November. Uh, if Monday nights are still good for everybody, then um, I would think something like November 10th would be good.
Let's see.
You know, if we could.
That works for me.
And then if we
Yeah.
had to, we could do either the 17th or we can't do the 24th. I don't know. What do you feel about the 24th? That's Thanksgiving week. People might be gone.
That's not a good time for me.
Okay. Cassidy, how's your schedule looking?
I mean, my schedule's just completely open, so whatever Monday's gonna work best for everybody, I'm
Okay.
gonna be fine for.
Okay. All right.
What if we did 11:10 and 12:1? Would that
Yeah,
work?
if we had to, that would be fine. I think that would be fine. If we did 11:10, we probably won't be able to get through.
Or does it need to be earlier?
No, what we could do is 11:10 and 12:1 meet to discuss the applications and basically, you know, make everybody eligible. Then if we really needed to, we can do another, you know how there's always, you know, well, we better talk to them, we better ask them a question, we better make sure that, you know, we have all of the facts. If we really had to, we could get one more meeting in on December 8th,
Sure.
just to finish up the stragglers, the two or three that have questions, you know. Is
That
that
would work for me.
Yeah, that works for me too.
Works for
All right.
me.
That should be fine.
Cool.
okay? So 11:10 and 12:1, and then if we need to, maybe 12:8. And this gets it done before the end of the year. It is kind of right through the middle of the holidays, but I think we can work that, or through one of the holidays, but we can work that out. And then I'll notify everybody before the end of the year.
Yeah, it'll be
And
a little earlier than last year, right?
yeah, yep. So I think it'll be because everybody starts calling, you know, how much do I owe in February? So I think that seems reasonable.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion to approve
I don't
any
think
of
so. I
that
think
or
we
no?
can just
Okay.
have that in the minutes that's our, you know, our next thing. Do we want them in person?
I think if we can at least do the first meeting in person, it's always helpful. Like I feel like in the past we've got through a lot more applications when we're
Yep.
all in person to be more efficient.
I think I had to set up like a Dropbox thing. Did that work okay for everybody?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Whatever we did last year, I thought worked well.
yeah, I put them all together in one big thing,
Yeah.
redacted as many social security numbers as I could find. But okay, we can do that again. Okay, that sounds good.
All right. And so meet in person on the 10th,
On the 31st.
on the 31st.
No, on the 10th, right?
That's
The
our next
31st
meeting, right?
is the application deadline. The
Oh,
10th
that's
would-
oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Yep.
On the wrong line. Sorry. Yeah,
Okay. Sounds good.
and then we can
Sounds
take
great.
12:1 and 12:8 as they come.
So we're meeting in person on the 10th
Yep.
of November. Okay.
All right.
All right. That takes us to the end
Yeah.
of the agenda.
Perfect. So before we adjourn, I'll just summarize. I'm gonna read to put the finishing touches on the application. I'll send it around. It's been approved as edited, but I'll send it around to make sure that all looks good. Basically, checking my typing. I'll get it out in the mail to everybody, and then we'll wait.
Great.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Third, I thirded.
We just need to do a roll call vote.
Naomi. Third. Did I say it right?
Yeah, Hawks, aye.
Silverman, aye.
3DI.
Hicks and I.
Okay, great. Well, it was great to see everybody.
You guys
Yeah.
as well. It's nice to
Same
meet you
here.
guys.
See you in person in a
Yep.
couple months.
Okay,
Sounds great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Linda. Bye.
bye-bye.